Montevideo. How are you? ¿Cómo estás? You ready to have some fun and talk about some marketing? I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm going to try to talk slower for my translator. But if I don't, we'll figure it out. We'll talk later. I'm going to start from the end, just while I still have your attention. First of all, I know, we've all come for dinner and prizes, but in order to get to that part, you're going to have to listen to me first. So hang in there. We're going to make it short. And I wanted to start from the end by saying a huge, huge thank you to AEB, Uruguay. Thank you for putting this together. It's such an honor for me to be here with you today. A special thank you to Carolina, who I text every day till 1 a.m. and I'm driving her a little crazy. To Karina, to Raquel, who's been my contact through Roy, and they brought me over here today. And of course, thank you to the Israel Uruguay Embassy for allowing me and giving me the place to talk about Israel innovation in Uruguay. So let's get started, yeah? Ready? Great. So I'm Talia, in case you didn't know. I'm the Marketing and Business Development Manager at Powtoon. And Powtoon is an Israeli startup. We were founded in 2012, and our role was to allow anyone to create animated videos, right? The same way that Uber did to taxi drivers, the same way that Wix does to websites. That's how we launched in 2012. And now we've moved over to videos. Okay, so it's not just animated video, but since 2012, okay, cool. So since 2012, we've grown the company. Today we have 20 million users worldwide using the platform. 96% of Fortune 500 companies are using the platform for internal communications. That's how it's used in big companies. And over 50 million Powtoons have been created, and a Powtoon is created every second of the day. And it's used for marketing videos, for Facebook advertising, YouTube advertising, explainer videos, etc., etc. Anytime you need a video to get your message across, people are creating videos. So I'm going to quickly show you a Powtoon to explain to you more about the company and about how we grew to become so successful. And all the marketing tactics and trends we're going to discuss today, it's all been done before, and it's all stuff that we do in the company in order to grow to this amount of users daily. So let's just start. Okay.
Hey, wanna hear a crazy story? A few years ago in a random cafe, a couple of friends, or shall we call them renegades, got together just to hang out. And by chance, they created something radical. At the time, I was trying to figure out how I could make a pitch to clients that wouldn't put them to sleep or drive them to secretly browse Facebook under the table. The solution was obvious. Why not use one of those cool animated videos? Which was a great idea, with just one huge problem. Animated videos cost thousands of dollars and take weeks for an agency to complete. Right then and there, with $0, 0 customers, no software, no nothing, we made the decision to build something that gives everyone the power to animate, just by pressing a few buttons. And here's where things get crazy. Before we went live with Powtoon, I emailed a few friends and colleagues, and by the time we were ready to launch, we had over 40,000 people from I don't even know where requesting alpha access. 1 year later, we passed 1 million awesome Powtoon tribe members, and today, just a few years after that, a Powtoon is made every second of every day, all over the world, 24/7. And virtually all Fortune 500 companies are using Powtoon to brighten their internal communications. In this day and age, where attention is so hard to get and even harder to keep, Powtoon has become the tool to use when you can't afford to be ignored. That's so awesome and so humble. And guess what? We're not just about animation anymore. Thanks to you, our tribe, Powtoon has evolved into a leading presentation and video creation platform for any type of video. And yes, you're right, the best is yet to come. We're now launching Powtoon for Enterprise, Powtoon for Agencies, Powtoon Connect, and much, much more. If you can think it, you can Powtoon it. All of us here at Powtoon just want to say that we love you and thank you for this incredible journey together. Stay awesome.
Okay, so that's Powtoon. I think we can move on. We all got Powtoon, and I'm not here to talk today about Powtoon. I want to tell you a little bit about myself and marketing. So actually, I'm an agency girl, right? So I also worked in the advertising field for a few good years. I paid my dues to the advertising gods. And then I moved to the client side, like any good advertising person does. So I studied psychology and criminology, and then I went to ad school, and my biggest dream was to work for McCann. Okay, that was what I wanted to do my whole life, work for McCann and be part of McCann and the advertising industry. But I didn't go to McCann. I found myself working in an advertising agency, PR and online marketing agency that deals also with big clients like HP and Panasonic, but deals a lot with startups. Okay, and in Israel, everyone has a startup, so there's a lot of work to do for startups. Now, what differentiates startups from big companies is that if they don't make money and they don't get the marketing out correctly, they'll die. 90% of the startups die in their first year, so the stats are all against us. And our job was to get them out there both in PR and in marketing. So I managed the social media team. We had about between 70 to 100 clients simultaneously trying to get their name out there and become an international company. And as I worked with these companies and as my team worked through these companies, I understood that the way for me to get these companies exposure and get them in front of the target audience has to do with 3 marketing basics. That if I fulfill these marketing basics, I'm gonna be okay. Okay, the first thing was that I needed to communicate to their target audience in the way that they should be communicated to. So if the target audience was reading newspapers, that was my medium. If the target audience was young people in Snapchat, that was my medium. And I needed to communicate to the target audience in a way that they understand and they learn what I'm trying to say to them. The second thing I understood is that it's not that I only need to communicate to the target audience, it's that I also have to reach out to them and make what I'm saying to them personalized, right? So the people I'm talking to need to know that I'm talking to them. They need to know that I'm relating to them. They need to know that I understand their problems, that I understand their needs. So that's personalized content. And if I can market to them in the right medium and I can personalize my content or my pitch to them, I can also gain them as clients. But once I gain them as clients, that's not the end of the story. I knew that once I gain my audience as clients, they might churn, right? I need to build brand loyalty. How do you build brand loyalty, or how do you build a loyalty of any person? You make them feel influential, you make them feel part of you, you make them feel part of your brand. And you bring them in to the brand's community. Okay, so that's fine, so great. So as a marketer, great. I had this epiphany that I need to do communication, personalization, and community building. Nothing new, right? But when I look at it, these basics and fundamentals never started in the marketing agency, in the marketing worlds or in ad agencies. They started here's the slide with what I said. They started a long time ago, right? If you look at armies that are formed, armies are formed around loyalty, around stories, around folklore. The Marines, every Marine has in his brain the pride to be a Marine, okay? Religions have a lot of stories, have a lot of communication that is passed through the generations with a lot of stories and a lot of context to make them and to build them into a community that they are. Same as countries. Every country has their story, which makes the citizens not only citizens, but they make them proud citizens. And once you have proud citizens, they become your advocates, and they can go out and they can spread the word. So I knew that I need to build communities so I can use them, so I can use the advocates to spread the word about the companies that we're working for. Okay, so putting that aside for 1 second, we're also living in an era with a lot of technology developing. So technology is developing the whole time, and our attention is being grabbed the whole time. So if we were having this conversation 20 years ago, I wouldn't have WhatsApp notifications and Facebook notifications competing for your attention while I'm talking to you, right? And the CEO of Microsoft said that the true scarce commodity of the near future will be human attention. So the most valuable currency is human attention. When we work as agencies or with brands, our competition isn't the other shoe brands that also has shoes. Our competition is Facebook ads and WhatsApps and the argument you had with your boss 5 minutes ago and sending your kid to school and what's going on with them. So our mind is constantly occupied, and as technology develops, the more stimulation we have and the more our mind is occupied with anything except of my sales pitch. Okay, but we're here to make money. So we need to find a way to get the attention back to us. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the marketing trends we're going to discuss today are very basic, but we're going to see how they evolutionized to what they are today. The first trend we're going to discuss is communications as a trend and its evolution into video communications. Personalization as a trend and what it's become today, hyper-personalization. With BI, with the Internet of Things, with machine learning, we can now hyper-personalize. And then communities, so usually when you say communities, you're thinking of a tribe sitting around the fire, right? But communities today is a huge trend because we're now all connected and we don't have the barriers we used to have thanks to the internet. So these are the 3 marketing trends. That was my intro. Let's get down to business. Okay, so communication. So we see the evolution of communication starting with writing, moving to print, moving to TV. Okay, in TV, the way the content was presented stopped. Okay, but how and on what devices the content is presented continued to evolutionize. So from just watching videos on TV, now everyone has a mobile device and you're going like this the whole time. And the way to communicate and to get clients' attention today is on the mobile because that's the media they always have on them. So we spoke about living in an age of hyper distraction and that everything is always fighting for our attention. And some people even say that we have an attention span of a goldfish, which is less than 8 seconds, which means that when I walk into the room, I need to be interesting enough because I have your attention in 8 seconds, and I need to get your attention and get my message across to you in the first 8 seconds. Otherwise, you won't remember me. But is the attention span really only 8 seconds? Last year, YouTube released their numbers and their stats, and the main stat, I put loads of stats here for you so you have what to read, but the main stat I wanted to talk about was YouTube announced that they have 1 billion users, and there's an average of 1 hour per user consumed per day. Okay, that's 1 billion hours of videos on YouTube consumed per day. So maybe there's not a problem with attention. Maybe there's just a problem with content delivery and how content is being delivered. Because if people are watching video after video after video, something is getting their attention. Okay? So let's talk about that a little bit. And let's talk about why is video so successful. So why is video the most effective way to communicate today? And it doesn't have to do with the content you put out there. Of course, the better the content, it's great, but it actually has to do with our brain. Okay, and video has the power to hack your brain and to activate your brain simultaneously in different learning modes. So when you walk around the world and when you're learning more new information, your brain has 3 learning modes that it can learn with. The visual, which is text, but it's also what I see and what I'm picking up. The auditory, my tone of voice can be very low, and I can be really excited. That's different types of learning through audio. And kinesthetic, which is emotion. It has to do more with storytelling and helping learn through memory and emotion. Let me show you examples of each of these. One sec. Okay. So we have visual learning, Tony the tiger. He's a pretty cool dude. He's smiling a lot. He's colorful. He's happy. I'm probably going to want to eat his cereal because if I eat the cereal, I'm going to be as happy as Tony the tiger. But what if I change Tony the tiger, I switch him out with a real tiger? Okay? So you see how your mind is suddenly visually learning something else. It's learning a different environment and a different context. Let's talk about audio learning. Pretty boring, right? Just text. Emotion, drama. Suddenly I understand how I'm supposed to read my text. That's audio learning. Last type of learning is kinesthetic learning. It has to do with movement and with emotion. If I go to a student and say, hey John, how much is 10 minus 8? He will remember the answer less than if I go to John and I say, hey John, yesterday I gave you 10 candies. I know your friend Sarah came to you and together you ate 8 candies, but then you both got a stomach ache and Sarah went home. How many candies did you have left? Okay, so John is going to remember that because I've triggered a story and an emotion in him. He's a kid, he loves candies. He's going to remember that better. So when you watch a video, you're activating all of the 3 learning modes simultaneously. It's better than just reading an email, right? It's better than just listening to a podcast or to a radio show. You're activating all the 3 learning modes, and then your brain is more likely to remember the information. I'm going to add another layer to that, and I'm going to talk to you about animation and cartoons. So we see a lot of cartoons around us as grown-ups, right? There's Family Guy, there's Rick and Morty. Every startup has a video about their product with a cartoon. Why? Why do we love cartoons so much? We're grown-ups. What's going on? And again, it has to do with the brain and the way our brain processes information. So just in case you're not convinced, we ran a quick test with YouTube. We took the same exact video, and one video was just a live video, and one video had animation overlays on it, right? Wow, bam, I don't know, things coming in. And we ran them both as ads, and we found that the ad with animation overlays on it has 42% view-through rate. It's the same boring ad, I promise, but your brain is reacting differently to animation. And there are 2 main reasons to that. The first reason is the power of abstraction, of abstract. So when I show you a picture of a real camera, your brain has to start processing everything he knows about the camera, right? It's a camera for professionals, it's a camera that's expensive, it's a heavy camera, you use it in this and that context. So it's starting to bring up a lot of information. And when your brain is busy in bringing up a lot of information, it can't be busy with something else, it's preoccupied. But when I show your brain an animation of a camera, it understands the camera as a concept, okay? And then it's like, oh, a camera, I'm gonna move on now and I'm gonna learn something. So the learning with animation is much, much quick because of the power of abstraction. The other reason we love animation as grown-ups has to do with childhood conditioning. So most of us grew up having a happy childhood, and a lot of us grew up watching cartoons every Saturday morning. And cartoons in our mind, in our brain, is associated with a good feeling, a warm feeling, a safe feeling, a time in our life where everything was really, really great. Put that aside for a second. When we're walking around the world, our brain has a lot of information to take in. And our brain is still the same brain we had in the caves when we were hunters and gatherers. It's still busy with survival. So when I'm walking around the room, my brain is deciding which information to take in and which to take out. There's a lot of information going on around here, like the noise over there, and people talking, and the lights, right? But my brain is only dealing with what's relevant to me right now, so it can survive. So it's filtering things out. But when my brain sees animation, it suddenly, all the feelings and the positive feelings that have to do with my childhood come up, and my brain doesn't feel threatened by anything anymore. It lets the filters down, and information can come in much, much easily. So that's the power of animation. And just to finish, and the power of video, and just to finish off this trend of communication and of video communication is here to stay, okay? Ever since we've had TVs, it's obvious that we're gonna consume movies, okay? We're gonna consume stories that we can visually see, that we can listen to, that we can feel something about. It's just gonna always be about the medium, about how fast you can get the information through to them, etc. But video is here to stay, and currently it's the most effective way of communication. With Powtoon, what we did is, but video also for us agencies, it has a lot of context of high production fees, annoying clients that are going to call me and ask me to make my logo bigger, and I'll have to render the video again, and it's going to be a long, long process. So, and it's not just for agencies. Anyone I speak to and I say, yeah, do you know you can create a video? They're like, no. I'm not a video editor. What are you talking about? Okay? But video doesn't have to be a tough process and a tough procedure. We were talking before, the representative, the CEO of YAB, was talking about the sharing economy a bit, right? About how everything has become approachable, how everything is democratized, how everyone can be everything that they want now that everything is available online. And video is the same. I'm just gonna show you, I'm gonna finish this part off with a quick video just to help you understand what Powtoon looks like, and then we're gonna move on quickly to hyper-personalization. Okay, I think our jobs as marketing people and as marketing agencies is to make money. That's the bottom line. What people want to see is us making money, and that's what we get paid for, and that's what we get fired for if we don't. And now the video is not something that's so hard to create. You can just take your phone, you can create a video, you add some Instagram overlays. That's content that we need to push to our clients much more, so we can help them convert much more, because we just saw it's more effective than any type of form of communication. And by the way, it's also a new revenue stream. So if once video had high production costs and low margin values, today when you're using platforms that are available for you, you can get subscriptions and then charge clients for videos and have a new service in your agency. So that's video communications. Let's talk about hyper-personalization. Okay, so the evolution of hyper-personalization starts with personalization. So once an ad would look like this, Coca-Cola ad with a woman, and I understand as a woman that the ad is talking to me, right? Then the years passed and there's email campaigns and the technology allows us to add a first name onto an email. That's the next phase of personalization, or to send digital personalized bills or birthday greetings. That's the next stage. By the way, the most interesting and amazing test I always do to anyone who's like a doubter is I ask, and go back and try this. If you add someone's first name to the subject line of an email, there's a much, much higher chance that they're gonna open your email. So I always add first names, even if it's out of context, I find a way to add it in, because I need the open weights, right? And then, so that started, but now we're living in a world of BI and tracking behavior online, and even with GDPR, we know exactly what people are doing online, and we can understand exactly who they are, where they are, and how we can get to them. And I'll give you an example of hyper-personalization. So if I have a website and I see a person browsing my website for green shoes, okay? She's looking at green shoes. I love this slide because it has shoes. She's looking at green shoes. I go back and I understand the user behavior previously. I know that she's usually going online from her mobile. What makes her convert most from her mobile is push notifications, when I send her a push notification. I know she mainly makes her purchases on Sundays between 6 to 9 p.m., and I know that she usually buys in sales. There's an opportunity for me to have a flash sale on all green shoes on Sundays between 6 to 9 p.m., and I've made the sale just because I've attended to her behavior. Now, I know that's like a very, very advanced stage of hyper-personalization, and you know, you have to work very closely with your clients to have access to all this data and all this information. But really, all you need to do is you need to understand who your clients' most converting customers are. So for instance, we have 20 million users, right? When I want to make money, I look at the consumer behavior of the people who are converting on the most expensive plans, because there the money is on the floor. So you start by understanding the profiling of the purchasers, not the visitors to the website, the purchasers. Then you just do lookalike campaigns, and it's trial and error, and you build automated campaigns, which you have many tools for now, like Mixpanel, etc., and you're good to go. It takes one trial. You don't have to do all of this. It's just about making even sometimes a sale on Sunday afternoons. Okay, so a great brand that does hyper-personalization is Spotify. Everyone knows Spotify? Yeah? People at the back, do you know Spotify? Yeah? I know. That's what you're talking about, right? Spotify. Okay, so Spotify understood the power of hyper-personalization, and they released a whole feature which is based on your taste in music plus the taste of other people like you in music. And what they found is they had 140 million users when they released this feature. And since they released this feature, on this Discover Weekly playlist, they have 5 billion streams. From 140 million users, they get 5 billion streams. Do you understand how much music after music after music after music they're making me consume as a user just by giving me what I want, okay? Just by presenting to me and bringing to me my taste in music, they're doing that. They're also really good at sending you emails when an artist you listen to has a concert next to you, etc. But they're really taking hyper-personalization to the next level. Also at Powtoon, we do really good hyper-personalization, but I'm not here to talk about Powtoon, so we're gonna move on. Okay, but these are really great examples of hyper-personalization, and you can do it just by starting with a cart abandonment campaign. Just doing that through email marketing, that's very easy. The next trend I want to talk to you about, and the last trend for today, is communities. Anyone here heard the word community recently? It's kind of like a buzzword, right? It's like when people say, oh, it's super disruptive. So now, like, communities has become the buzzword, and Mark Zuckerberg announced that they're going to invest in communities, hundreds and thousands of dollars, because communities are important. But you know what? Communities really are important. And again, we're going back to our reptile brain when we lived in caves and we all had our little tribes. And if I was exiled from my tribe, that was a death sentence to me. I'm programmed as a human to live in communities. So we have the tribes, and then it goes on to living in little neighborhoods and little villages and communities. But then there's a period in time where communities were, 10 minutes, were no longer popular, right? As people spread out and found new continents, etc., it was before we had the internet, people couldn't connect, right? But now we're back to the online world where time and distance is not a factor anymore, and communities are now online, and they're based on interest, and they're based on industries, and they're based on brands. Okay, so why as a brand do I want to build communities? Because they make me money, right? Every brand is fighting the churn problem, right? So if I'm Adidas, the fact that I got someone to buy my shoes once doesn't mean that every time they need shoes and trainers, they're gonna come back to me. I need to do something to fight that. If I'm a SaaS company, which I am, and people buy me on a yearly subscription, I need to make sure that they're gonna come back again next year and renew their subscription. 40% of people who belong to a brand community, say that they'll spend more. That's 48%, so it goes up when we're talking about the ages of 25 to 34. By the way, this is a generation who really has the deep need for communities because they felt the separation, and we saw the evolution of internet and how it brings people together. Brand loyalty is increased by 37%. If I'm part of a brand's community, I'm gonna think twice before I leave them. And it also contributes to word of mouth. Okay, so your community are your advocates. And in Powtoon, we build a lot of communities, and I happen to be responsible of the community sector of Powtoon. And the main problem I was dealing with a couple of years ago is, how do I reduce churn? How do I get people to come back? And I knew that the main audience I need to deal with first are the people that are currently paying me. I need to connect with them. I need to give them a place where they can feel influential and have their voice important enough so that they have a stage. So we built the Powtoon Premium community. It grew very, very fast. You know why? Because as a brand, I have everyone's email addresses, and I can send all my premium users, come join my community. And in that community, it wasn't a support community. Support questions were sent to support. The community was about empowering each other to build good videos, giving feedback to each other about videos you built, and basically from being someone in my physical life that doesn't always have a voice, suddenly when I'm part of the Powtoon premium video community, I'm suddenly a video expert. I can tell whoever it is on the other side of the world exactly what he needs to change. So that reduced trend, and I think the strongest example of community success is the fact that I'm here today. So I'm one person, right? And my job is to make money for the company all over the world. We're a global company, but I'm one person. So how am I going to do that? I knew that there are a lot of people who really, really, really love Powtoon. Everywhere they go, they tell their friends that they love Powtoon. You have to use Powtoon. So I decided that I'm going to find those people and I'm going to make them my ambassadors and have them work to help me grow the business and grow the word of mouth. And actually, Roy, who you see sitting here, he lives in Montevideo. He's been here for 2 years. He's an ex-Israeli. He's working with Raquel in the AVC marketing book. He's my brand ambassador. And when him and Raquel heard that we're looking, for someone from the startup nation and who knows about technology in marketing to come and speak, Roy found that opportunity, and they went to someone else, and then he couldn't, so they bought me, right? But he kind of made that opportunity happy for me, and obviously this is a big business opportunity for me because look how much exposure I'm getting. So through having ambassadors all over the world, I'm growing our business by having other people be my advocates. Our ambassadors are currently in a pilot plan. They give meetups, they give training, they do workshops. They educate people about Powtoon in their community and in their language. How do you build communities? Around stories, okay? So communities are built around stories. We spoke about it before.
Wanna hear?
No. Okay, we spoke about it before. Religions, armies, everything is formed around stories. Communities are around stories. As a brand and as agencies who work with brands, we need to make sure our brands are getting their stories out there, are getting the personas out there. And we also need to make sure that our brand has a good persona, right? Because people only want to connect to people who do good, right? They want to connect to brands who do good. So we need to make sure that we're telling the story of the brand while getting our marketing messages out there. I want to share with you a quick storytelling campaign, and I'm going to finish off with this, and then we can all have dinner, and it's going to be awesome, of a storytelling campaign that we did. But I know that after this video, you're all going to clap for me, and you're all going to talk about how awesome my talk is. So I'm going to sum up this whole conversation before you all clap for me. And I'm going to say, Carolina and Raquel said to me, Talia, we want you to come to the YAB event and talk about marketing trends and what you foresee in marketing for the future. I'm like, for the future? I don't know, like technology is evolving so quickly. How would I know what I can foresee with the future? But Gaudi, when he built the chapel, he knew that the basic need of everyone who's going to go into this building is going to be air, okay? He knew that whatever happens, in 1,000,000 years' time, people are always going to need air. It's a basic need. So he built for the future. He said, this is going to take me years to build. By the time I finish building this, we'll figure it out. But I'm building for the basics. I'm going to give an answer for the basics. I'm going to build the infrastructure. The technology will evolve enough to be able to ventilate this whole building, and this is how ventilators, in that building came about. And he never saw them, right? But he knew that there's a basic need. Also in marketing, if you stick to the basics, if you understand that people need to be communicated to effectively in the medium that's right for them, if you understand that people who get personalized content to them are 75% more likely to convert, if you understand that if you get people to be your community, they're going to take your marketing messages further, if you understand all these basics, the marketing technologies that are to come and that are trying to solve the problems, they don't matter. You're going to be one step ahead of the game because you know what the basics are. So let me finish off just by showing you this video. Thank you so much for your time. Let's watch this together.
Want to hear an awesome story? What brings three tech nerds like us to Tanzania, in the heart of sub-Saharan Africa? Would you believe? It's the love of animation. Everybody loves cartoons, right? Ever since we were kids. But is the love of animation something we're born with? Or do we love it because it makes up such an important part of our childhood memories? To find out if animation is truly a universal language, we at Powtoon, the world's leading platform for creating animated videos, searched the planet to see if we could find people who've never seen a cartoon before. And this is where our story begins. Welcome to Tanzania.
Jambo, jambo.
We're in Tanzania with the hope of meeting up with the Hadzabe, one of the world's last hunter-gatherer tribes. Along the way, we met Mustafa, one of the few people who speak the Hadza language.
Hey, Mustafa.
After a long journey, we finally reached the Hadzabe.
At this point, my heart is beating at 1,000 beats a minute. We see the Hadzabe sitting under the trees in the distance.
Saying that you're all welcome. You're all welcome. Saying, if I look at these guys, they look so soft. Yeah, they cannot chase even a baboon or a monkey.
We spent the whole day together, watching the Hadzabe hunters returning from their hunt, trying to learn some of their everyday life skills.
They showed us their art. They drew for us. They showed us how they transmit messages through the ages.
Zane, one of the Hadzabe, drew a hyena for us and asked me to draw something of my own.
Tell him that it's different than drawing like this.
And then they ask about our culture.
As fascinating as we found them, they found us. I'm a little bit concerned. I'd really like to show the tribe how we do things with Powtoon, but I'm going to need to show them a computer and everything.
If it doesn't harm them, they would like to see it. They're very curious, so it's okay.
All right.
He's asking, what do you have?
I'm just going to open it, okay? And I'm going to show them something. This is our art.
Don't go. You want to run.
Watch, he's making fire.
What is he saying? Saying that you're burning his legs.
When Akko saw me making a Powtoon, he also wanted to try.
Come. Click. Huh? You see? Two finger. Look. Two. This is us. This is us coming to visit you. It's like a universal language. It was incredible.
You know how they say laughter brings people together? Well, I can tell you, it's true. We were overwhelmed by the warmth and hospitality of the Hadzabe. Mustafa had previously explained to us that many Hadza have sensitive eyes due to the dust and lack of clean water.
Would they consider letting a doctor have a look at them, or?
He said, let us try.
We had asked local doctors to join us, hoping that we could offer some help.
I don't know how punya falak.
You can see now. No.
So we did what we set out to do. We now know that animation is truly a universal language. But more importantly, our time with the Hadza reminded us that no matter how far apart, people are all connected, just part of one big tribe, and that laughter and a little open-mindedness can bring us all together.
You see, I told you were going to clap for me. Obviously, I love the HADs, and we're still in touch with them, and we support them, and we help them with medication and with their eyes. And this is a storytelling campaign, so it gives a feel good of a do good brand. But really, as a marketer, all I wanted to do is get a message across that everyone can create a video, even someone who has never seen a computer before. But when I give that and I present that in the form of a story, I achieve so many other goals, including great PR, great advocacy, and a very, very strong community that connects to my values as a brand. So you guys know what you're doing. I mean, you're winning awards, right? Congratulations to everyone who's winning awards tonight and everyone who was nominated. Thank you so much for having me. Again, it's my honor, and if you want to talk to me, I'm super available, and I'm available via email too. If I get,
Want to hear an awesome...
If I get to the slide. No, I'll give you my email later. Okay, but thank you so much, guys.
Want to hear...